Everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Dave with Alum House Sound. Today we're going to be talking about crowd mics. I've been experimenting with trying to get crowd mics into my mix, not only for my in-ear monitors, but also for my live stream. So we've got a lot of us are using kind of a reverb that's on our soundboard and creating a room for our viewers that are in the live stream environment. And a lot of times our people on stage will just shove that back into their ears for their monitoring, and that works really well. But it's just not the same as having a stereo, environment in your room that you can capture people clapping and singing and talking back, and then hearing that into your in-ears or again in your live stream. So I did pick up a couple microphones. I picked up a pair of these Rode NT5Gs. These are some small diaphragm, kind of pencil condenser microphones. They're pretty sensitive. They do have an EQ on them that can cut out the low end. So it's got a high pass or a low cut, depending on what you want to call it. But it's got that feature on the microphone as well as a flat response option. And so I picked these up, and I've got a couple little, just shorter stands. You would use these stands if you had just a microphone sitting on your desktop and you were just speaking into it. So they're not really tall. They're designed just to be low profile, sit them off to the sides, and I'm just testing these in different spots. So in a second, I'm going to pull up my computer screen. We'll dive into the computer, dive into the DAW right back here, and we'll take a listen to what these mics sound like. I've got them in two specifically different places, aimed very different ways, and they're going to pick up the PA, and I want to see just what does it sound like. I have no idea what this sounds like. I haven't jumped into it. I haven't listened to it. I literally just plugged them in. I stuck my headphones on. I adjusted some gain, did a little EQ on the board, but that is not captured in these recordings. So we're going to hear a raw sound right from these microphones. And we're going to see what it sounds like. How much low end is it picking up? How much room sound is it picking up? Is it getting the people or is it just getting the PA? All of these things are what we're going to evaluate. And the goal is that eventually I can have some microphones in a good spot that we either set up every week because we're a set up and tear down church, or that I can get them permanently mounted in a location. And we'll talk about that with a picture that I'll show here in just a minute. So without further ado, let's dive into this computer. Let's dive into the DAW and let's see what we get in the audio recordings. All right, so as we start to talk about these microphones and the placement and what I'm testing right now, this is a picture of my venue. And so down here at the bottom in the back is, you can see actually a little screen lit up right here at the bottom in the middle. And that is one of our cameras. Directly behind that middle camera is our tech booth. And I have one microphone placed on top of on that tech booth, in that tech booth, sitting literally on top of my my soundboard case. And then up here on stage by the acoustic guitar player just to the right is another microphone. So it's behind the PA, but it is on stage. Now, ideally, my next place to try, you can see this beautiful alcove to the top right, which has a harp in it. I just got permission to put a microphone up there, and on the left-hand side in the top where there's a piano, and I can put a microphone up there. My goal is to get these away from the PA. My goal is to get these picking up the room and the audience sounds of them singing, and also, but just keeping them away from the PA so that they're not getting pounded with, sound and volume. So here's a slightly closer up picture. You can see the acoustic guitar, obviously without the band on stage, and you're not going to see it necessarily, but it's to the right. And let me see if I can zoom in and find a better picture of this. All right, so there we go. So this is a Rode NT5G. I've got two of these that are allocated right now for room mics, crowd mics, whatever you want to call them. And so this is as best as I could get a picture for you guys, having that microphone set up right here. My digital snake is to the right, and so it just plugs directly into the digital snake. And here on the front right, that whole kind of perforated bar, that is my front speaker. So you can see I'm behind the PA by probably 5 or 6 feet, and just kind of capturing sound from the audience as I can. So let's keep that in mind, this placement, as we listen to these in the tracks and in the recordings. All right, so here you can see my multi-tracks that are from this service, this event, and I've got all of them coming in. This was just a raw capture right off the board, and so in my scenario, my tracks come into the board, they hit the preamp, they go immediately out into Studio One here, which is my DAW. And the way I have this set up right now for this example is I have pushed my crowd tech, which is the one that's at my board here. You can also see crowd stage, which is the one by the acoustic guitar player. I also have my stream audio. So this is what we actually sent out to the stream that day recorded. So we might be able to play with adding in the sounds if we want to, but mostly I just want to isolate these two microphones, see what they sound like, and get some qualities for them. Now, these tracks are running back through my Behringer X32, which is picking up my vocal mic that I'm talking into as well. That is going directly into my live stream output and back into OBS to capture this. So I do have a slight bit of coloring, compression, and limiting on that bus output that comes into OBS. However, I have the EQ on the board turned off so that I'm not duplicating, any recorded EQ sounds. It's just a raw sound on these. To make this a little easier, I am going to group and hide a couple extra things here. Let me just add these into a folder, and there we go. So now we've got my main left and right mix that I've recorded from the room. I've got my two room mics, and then I have my stream audio as well. So let's just take a quick listen to the actual stream audio. And when I've got these set up as post fader, so that I can use these faders here in the DAW to make this a little bit easier. All right, let's see what we get here. All right, so that's just a quick sound of the live stream there. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these down, and I'm going to use these crowd mics, and we'll kind of bring these up slowly. I know I need to get them back up to 0 here. So this is the one that's on stage. Let's go back and listen to that same selection again here, just with the one on stage. All right, so this sounds really overloaded. It's distorted, it's breaking up. And that's the one that's next to the acoustic guitar player. That's how much stage volume from drums we get. All right, we'll turn that down, and we will go back to the other one here. And we'll listen, I can just leave all these soloed and just use the volumes. All right, so I'm going to listen to the one that's at the tech booth now at the soundboard. So this mic is facing the PA. So this is getting a mix of my house sound along with people around me. So let's listen to that. All right, so we can hear that also has some breakup and distortion in it. So there's one of two things I need to evaluate here. Now, this is a pretty loud, full sound. This room was mixed at about 97 dB. And so you've got 97 dB banging around on these microphones, one behind the PA, one in front of the PA. One of the things I want to consider here is, did I have my gain set too high on these mics? To me, it sounds like I did. And this is where the concept of more microphones placed throughout your venue and turned down, just that mass of microphones will get you the sound that you're looking for. If you're trying to get it out of one microphone, maybe that's not as ideal. One of the other things I'm going to test out too is just setting up, say, some SM57s that are made to take a beating. They are dynamic microphones as opposed to condenser microphones. So the NT5Gs are made to pick up small sounds from far away. They're very sensitive, and with that gain overdriven, that's kind of what it sounds like. Now, I want to get to a soft part of this song. At the end of this song, the people do start to sing, and that's what I want to evaluate as well. So let me fast forward here and see if I can find where the song breaks down. All right, so here's a good spot here. This is pretty broken down. This is just vocal and guitar, maybe some pads. And so what I'm listening for, first, this is the stream area here. I want to listen to the stream and see what the stream sounded like. And then we'll listen to the two different microphones as they're not getting smacked with a bunch of drum and bass sound. Here we go.
To glorify the name of all names.
All right, I'm going to back it up here, and let's bring up one crowd mic. I'm going to bring this all the way up to 0. All right, here we go. This is the one that's at the tech booth.
To glorify the name of all names. Nothing can
So we can hear a little bit more voices around that microphone added into the PA sound. It is still a pretty direct PA mix, though. Let's listen to this other one here. This is the one that's on stage. All right, so two things that I hear here. I hear a very muffled sound that is just due to the distance. You know, that microphone is a solid 20 feet away from the front row in our venue. And so that's just not close enough to the people to actually get them singing. So this is just feedback. This is good feedback for me to get. And I'm just kind of walking through it with you at the first time here, first glance on this. Now, the other thing that I hear is a bunch of hiss. That concerns me more than anything. It is not a clean sound, whether that's a cable, whether that's overdriven, again, with the gain structure, trying to get too much out of a microphone. But I don't like that hiss sound. Let's hear that one more time. If I mute this, if I turn it down, yeah, so that's a pretty high noise floor on that microphone in its position. And again, I'm going to move these microphones around, test them over the next couple weeks. Let's listen to that first one again and see if we've got any background noise on that one.
glorify the name of all names. Nothing can stand.
Yeah, so that microphone sounds really clean. So I kind of like having that microphone back there at the board. Maybe if I plug two of them into the board, but used a dynamic microphone like an SM57, they're cheap and easy to just toss up. Maybe even the Behringer version. I forget the model number off the top of my head. I've got them listed in my Amazon store as favorite mics, but they run even cheaper. They're like $50, I think, a mic as opposed to $100 a mic. And I could put some dynamic microphones back there and just get that sound of the people around me. But I could also hopefully, if I come back here to the big part of the song, I could hopefully do away with this distorted sound of this mic breaking up under high load. And I will say too, these Rode NT5Gs, they do have an EQ built in, and I did have the low cut turned on. So even with the low cut, this mic is just getting overloaded with that full sound, that big volume, just banging away on it. All right, so that's a pretty eye-opening listen here to what I'm getting. I've got my mics that are back at the tech booth, in the tech booth, at the soundboard. They're picking up the people fine, but they get too much PA. So my next plan of action is actually to set up a pair of SM57s back there that are dynamic microphones. They can take that sound of the PA. They can handle that high decibel, room volume pretty well. And then I want to try and put these NT5Gs, as we talked about, up by that piano and that harp, up in those owl's nests, as they're called in this spot. And those owl's nests hopefully will get far enough away from the PA that they won't get beat up by the PA, but they'll still get sound from the people that are down in the congregation. So that's my next plan of action. I'm mixing a couple times in this holiday season coming up, and I'm hoping to be able to catch more multi-track recordings. And then by the end, probably just after Christmas, my hope is to make a follow-up to this video that has some more information and just kind of let you guys see and understand what I'm walking through, where I have things placed, and what kind of sounds I'm getting. Again, we're in a unique environment where we can't just permanently mount things anywhere we want. We cannot put them in the ceiling. We can't put them in the seats. It's a very unique building. It's a historic building. So we do have to either set things up or get them permanently hidden, placed somewhere where they can be wired and hidden. So anyway, that's it for this video. Make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. And if you got questions, leave those down in the comment section. I love answering the questions. But that's it for today. Thanks so much. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.